Well, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Granny Games today teased what is most likely the upcoming patch 3.22.1, which will be a significant content patch. What they've done today is outline 6 new tattoos that will be added into the Ancestor Challenge League. Go through those in a sec, but I do think it's worth saying that this indicates they're probably intending on keeping the Ancestors content around. It's been one of those league mechanics that, in my experience, there's definitely people that don't like it, but most people seem to like it and a fair number of people love it. So I'll be glad to see it stick around. It also has a lot of character customization tied to the tattoo mechanic, which is something that I think people would want to stick around whether the Ancestors content does or not. Anyways, all that speculation about the future aside, let's get into the actual news today. And the first 3 are the journey tattoos of the mind, soul, and body. Now these are very similar to each other. Each one replaces a 30 stat node, and it changes it into a base resource. 30 to maximum mana per allocated journey tattoo of the mind. This should be making you think this is very much like a Grand Spectrum duel. Journey Tattoo of the Soul replaces 30 int node with 40 energy shield per journey tattoo. And Journey Tattoo of the Body replaces a 30 strength notable with 25 maximum life per allocated journey tattoo of the body. Now, I've had a look so that you don't have to at the texture of the passive tree, and it turns out there's only 4 of each of these 30 stat nodes on the tree. If you consider the entire passive tree to be a clock face, at 1 o'clock there is a cluster of 2 of these notables, at 3 o'clock there's another, at 5 o'clock another, and again at 7, 9, and 11. Now the 4 of these clusters that are furthest from the witch start location, so this is not the ones that are 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, but all of the rest of them, those are the ones that have an intelligence notable. The ones furthest from the marauder, they're the ones that have strength. The ones furthest from the ranger start area, they're the ones that have dexterity. So that should give you a bit of a sense there's going to be a big Skillgrimage involved if you want to pick up all 4 of these. And not taking all 4 of these is going to be a fairly weak choice. But what's the payoff if you do? If you allocate all of the journey tattoos of the body that are possible, you're going to get 400 life at the expense of 120 strength. So losing 120 strength does mean you lose 60 base life, so you end up netting 340 base life from doing that. Is this going to be worth it or not? I think really the only time that it is if you are going to be stacking life on your character anyway, but if you are doing that, then there's a fairly big payoff here, and maybe the Skillgrimage is worth it for you. Remember that you can use your anointment to cut down on the amount of Skillgrimage, but of course the anointment is a big resource, so whether that's worth it or not is going to be something you'll have to consider yourself. Now, I do think that Journey Tattoo of the Mind has a couple of things that are worth calling out here. Firstly, Journey Tattoo of the Mind is replacing Dexterity notables, but it is something that boosts mana. The Dexterity notables are at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 1 o'clock on the passive tree, and as a result, this is somewhere that you would likely be if you're playing a build that is stacking mana. This means there's less of a Skillgrimage involved in getting good value out of Journey Tattoo of the Mind and allocating all 4 of them. Additionally, Radiant Faith was overhauled in patch 3.22. This is not strictly a buff. There are plenty of builds that like the old version of Radiant Faith more, but the new version of Radiant Faith will work really well in conjunction with the Journey Tattoo of the Mind. So I do think there's a lot of powerful synergies here. Whether you're playing this on a Mana Guardian setup, or whether you're playing it on an Archmage Hierophant, there's definitely something that you can get out of Journey Tattoo of the Mind. And I think this is going to be the one of these tattoos that has the most potential for exploration, even though the core archetype that it makes better is something that's not currently very good at all. I will also point out that Journey Tattoo of the Soul has incredibly high numbers on it if you are taking all of those intelligence notables, but of course there is a real consequence here, and that is that intelligence provides a percentage boost to your energy shield, so you're giving up that percentage boost to your energy shield in order to get this flat energy shield. It's probably going to be worth it sometimes, but I do think that these are a little bit misleading in that they're not providing as big a boost as you think. You are paying a real opportunity cost, and part of that opportunity cost is a way to scale your energy shield. Run the numbers for your specific build before deciding to use them. Next, we have a phenomenally powerful but also phenomenally hard to use tattoo, the Honoured Tattoo of the Makanga. I believe there's only 9 spots on the passive tree that this can be used, and probably the best of them is Witch North, 2 steps down from the dual slot. No matter where you allocate this, you are going to be wasting some passive points in order to turn it on. However, +2 to Fire, Cold, Chaos, and Lightning maximum resistances is a really big deal. I think that this is going to be quite rare. The Honoured Tattoos only come from the second last round or the last round. The Makanga Tattoos only come from the second last round or the last round. And combining the 2 of them together in one piece, this is likely to be somewhat of a chase reward, and it's definitely good enough that people will want to use it. So that's the Honoured Tattoo of the Makanga, potentially a very, very powerful item. Next we have the Ancestral tattoo of Bloodlines. Now this one's interesting. This rewards you for going broad and using lots of different tattoos on your character. 2% increased recovery rate of life, mana and energy shield per tribe for which you have an allocated tattoo. Now I do want to quickly point out that this unfortunately stacks multiplicatively with the map mod that has a similar mod. So the map mod of Smothering is largely going to suppress the value of this tattoo because it is a less multiplier. And if there's one thing that less modifiers are good at, it's squashing the effect of related stat increased modifiers. However, the cost of using these so far is pretty low. You are limited to only one Ancestral tattoo, but at the moment this is the only one we know of. And as a result, there's not much opportunity cost to using this. If you are already interested in using 3 or 4 different tribes worth of tattoos, then this is a pretty strong effect, and it's only going to cost you 1 small attribute passive skill. Just be aware that it's a bit more marginal if you are not already interested in using a diverse range of different tattoos. If that's the case, if you're only really interested in using tattoos from 1 or maybe 2 tribes, then this Ancestral tattoo is probably not going to be so powerful that it's going to compel you to want to use even more tattoos that you otherwise had no interest in applying. Finally, we have the Journey tattoo of the Makanui. This one is potentially very, very powerful. And also this one is something that we're going to need some clarification on exactly how it works. So this is something that replaces a keystone passive skill. Maybe your character would love to have Pain Attunement, but you are nowhere near Pain Attunement on the tree. Instead of needing to Skillgrimage over to Pain Attunement, what you could do is allocate a less desirable keystone such as Resolute Technique that you might be pathing right past, and then try and convert that into the desired Pain Attunement through the use of a Journey tattoo of Makanui. Now, there's a number of questions about exactly how this works. Where it says grants a random keystone, if you don't like the keystone that's offered to you, can you just apply a new Journey tattoo of Makanui over the top of it? And will that provide a different keystone? If that's the case, then this is going to be fantastic. Or will it be the same for everyone? For example, if one person were to allocate Ghost Dance with this and find that it became Acrobatics, would that be the same for every single Journey tattoo of the Makanui and every single character? Or is there something else going on there? We're going to have to find that out, and that's really something that I'd like to get some clarification on. All in all, I think that this upcoming content update is going to provide a whole bunch of additional character build options, and that seems to be what they're going for here. Something that might inspire someone to design a second character. I'm really getting strong vibes of Cluster Jewels and the Delirium League here. This is not a carbon copy of that system, but like Cluster Jewels allowed a lot of new build options to become available later in a league once you already had access to a number of particular items. I think that's exactly what they're going for with the tattoos. Anyways, if you're interested in discussing some of the top builds of the league so far, I'll put a link in the bottom left corner of your screen now to a video that I put out that was a bit of a roundup of the top performing builds on day 10 of the league so far. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlobs have interesting results, and I will see you around.